Loki's defeat in chapter 1187 was the first domino that needed to fall in order for the Elbaf arc to finish. With Loki temporarily out of the fight with Imu, Oda has finally kicked off the final stages of Elbaf. Oda was able to simultaneously start every single monster trio fight last chapter, along with freeing Gunko. Now looking at chapter 1187, we can start to piece together the ending of Elbaf. But the main question we're going to look at today is Loki going to come back into the fight? Is Loki going to come back into the ending of this arc? In order to figure that out, we need to look at all the stages of Elbaf's ending, starting with Princess Shuri, because Princess Shuri was freed last chapter. This was something that I theorized in a previous video. I said that once we get out of this Brook flashback, Brook is going to go there, Loki's going to be defeated, and this is going to free Shuri. Oda did it a little bit differently, but he actually did it better because he placed Loki right next to Brook's group, which is going to be very important later in the video. But getting back to Shuri, there's only two paths this can go. Either Shuri's going to come out of the ice in her good form, or she's going to come out as Gunko. Personally, I think we're going to be getting Gunko, and we're going to be getting a rematch from earlier in the arc. But this time, we now know that all we need to do is get Brook to re-jog Gunko's memories, turning her back into Shuri. Regardless, I think we're going to be getting the reunion between Brook and Shuri. Though it's not going to be long lasting, because I think Gunko's going to have to go back to the Holy Land at the end of the arc, because Imu still has the pact on Gunko. She's still under Imu's control. So I think we might get the reunion and then Gunko gets sent back, but overall, this entire Gunko section is going to take some time. The next two stages are the Wings of the Pirate King. We need to see Sanji and Zoro's fights. Oda always wraps up Zoro and Sanji's fights before we get to the climax of Luffy's battle, so we need to finish these fights before Luffy can even go serious. Really, all Zoro needs to do in his fight is just hone his Conqueror's Haki skills and he should be able to defeat Summers. But while Sanji, he needs a lot more personal growth. He's going to need to become a king in order to unlock Conqueror's Haki. So these fights could be wrapped up relatively quickly, though I think Sanji's going to need more focus. And with Zaza being incorporated into Sanji's fight, that could be drug out a lot longer than you might think. So when you combine these three separate side conflicts, we have the two fights and we have the Gunko situation, I think it very conflicts with Luffy's fight. We finally have reached the pinnacle of Elbaf. We have gotten Luffy versus Imu. And this is the conflict that's tied to Loki, because I think Loki could come back into this fight. For Luffy to secure his win, he must wait until Sanji's fight's over, Zoro's fight's over, and the Gunko stuff is finished. Given that everything was just introduced last chapter at the exact same time, we got the introduction to all of these conflicts, Luffy's in for a long marathon battle. And we're talking about Gear 5. Gear 5 is not something that's tailor-made for long battles, so Luffy's gonna be getting tired. And Oda loves to repeat shit. He loves being repetitive as fuck, so I can see Luffy getting tired, him getting defeated, and needing to go eat more food. So what does that leave us? We need someone to come in when Luffy gets defeated. We need to stall this fight out, drag it out. And this is exactly what happened to Kaido on Wano. We had Yamato come in. So I think that Loki's going to be making another appearance on Elbaf. He's going to be fighting Imu again. Loki's going to be resting on the sidelines for some time, and then he's going to come back into the fight conveniently once Luffy's Gear 5 runs out. And from a story perspective and a hype perspective, Oda could introduce his hybrid form here in this fight. Loki could come back into the fight, and this is when we see Loki's full bag. Now we're going to get into the biggest part of Loki's defeat. Why was he placed next to Gunko, next to Usopp? I think it's because the only way to get Usopp into this fight is to have him join Loki when Loki comes back into the fight against Imu. Usopp's not going to do anything in Zoro's fight. He's not going to do anything in Sanji's fight. He's not going to do anything in the Gunko conflict. That's Brook's thing to handle. Usopp's not going to be wielding Ragnir and hitting Gunko with the Ragnir hammer. That's just not what's going to happen. So the only thing left for him to do is to go with Loki. And what do you know? They're right next to each other. Ragnir's right there, de-transformed. I don't think Usopp's going to be the one to go in there solo against Imu like Yamato did against Kaido. I don't think Usopp's going to be going in there with Ragnir fighting 1v1 against Imu. I think he could accompany Loki. Imagine him showing up on Loki's back just like Luffy did in the beginning. That would be the exact type of moment that Usopp needs in the story, fighting alongside Loki. And the way that it's looking, that's the only option left at this point for Usopp to do. So I think that because Luffy needs to stall out his fight to finish up the other parts of Elbaf, we need to have Loki come back in. And that presents the perfect opportunity for Usopp to also join with him. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think Loki's going to be coming back into the fight against Imu? Do you think Usopp's going to join him? Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. That's all I got for today's video. See ya.